Hello and welcome to another Unreal Engine 5 tutorial. In this video I'll be showing you two different types of coin collecting systems. The first one is kind of like Mario, where the coin just sits there kind of spinning around, and when you walk into it, it adds more coins. And there's another one. You can see there's a dot in the middle of the loot bag. When I get close it says loot. If I walk far away, the dot's gone. If I walk farther, the dot shows up, and if I walk even closer, it says loot. So if I click E, the bag deflates, and you can see now I have 11 coins, and all of those widgets are gone. I no longer see the E to loot or the dot in the middle of it, showing that I've already collected it. And the first thing we want to do is go into our blueprints folder that we created in the other video. So go ahead and click on that. Don't worry about this, these are just the tests. Right click and click blueprint class. We want actor, and I'm going to call this BP underscore coin. So you can double click on that, drag it up there. And next you want to either get a static mesh if you have your own coin mesh that you downloaded or made. But what I'm just going to do is get a cylinder, and then I'm going to unlock it and then drag the Z axis down to make that look more like a coin, and then I'll lock that again and change the rotation to 90 degrees. Next I'm going to drag the scale down and drag it up, and you can also drag this here for more precise. And I'm just going to untick the grid right here, and I just want it to be a little bit above this right here because that's the origin, so that way when we drag it in it can stick out of the ground a little bit. I'm going to drag it up a little bit more, and I can see it's farther up above the ground, and that looks about the right size as well. So next, with the cylinder selected, type in sphere collision and then drag that up and scale it down. We want it to be about the size of the coin, a little bit bigger. Alright, so that looks good, and we'll compile. And then next we can click add, type rotating movement, compile, and since we dragged it into the scene already, you can see that it just spins automatically. And for the cylinder, I want to scroll down, block all collision. I want to change that to no collision. That way I can just walk right through it. And in the rotating movement, you can change this. So if I change it to like 4,000, you can see that it's really spinning. And if I change it to like 10, then you can see that it's going very slow. I'm just going to leave it on default. So next we want to go back to our content, third person, blueprints, and then open up the third person character. And I'm just going to find some room over here. And I want to click the capsule component and scroll down. And on component begin overlap, I'm going to click that, and then I'll drag it up here. And then off of here, I want to get a for each loop with break, and then I want to get overlapping actors, and for the class, make that an actor. Next, I want to hold down B for branch, plug that in, and then I'll do does implement interface. Next, we need to go create that interface, so I'll compile, and then make sure to go down here and save selected, so that'll save everything. Then go to the content browser, blueprints, and then you want to right click, go to blueprints, blueprint interface, and then we're going to call this interact interface. So then we'll open that up, and the first one we'll do is interact, and then we'll do another one, and then we'll call that hit. So if we run into the coin or hit it, then we'll use this, and then interact we'll use later for the coin pouch that we'll loot. So with that all set up, we can close out of that. So then back in here on the on component begin overlap, on the interface we can type in interact interface right there, and then off of true I want to hit, so I'll get the hit message, and that's the same thing that we created in the interact interface blueprint. So then off of here I want to update the HUD, and then I want to drag off onto break and double click on that, double click again, and this is just to make it look better. So now that we have this set up, we need to go to our coin, go to the class settings, implemented interfaces, and then type in interact interface right there, and then go to the event graph and delete that stuff. On the event begin play, we'll want to get actor of class, make sure it's actor of class, not actors, and then off of here I want to get player info, and this is the blueprint that we created in a previous episode. It's just an actor that we use to store variables in. So go to your blueprints and open up player info, and then click the plus and then call it coin. I already have it, but you'll need to make sure to click this and then change it to an integer, because the coin needs to be an integer, and the default value needs to be 0, which it will be by default. So next off of here, I want to promote a variable and then call that player info. So next in the BP coin, you can see there's a new tab called interfaces, and we want the hit, so implement interface, and then we'll do the function to add the coins to our variable right here. And basically what it's doing is when we overlap, we're doing checks to see if what we're overlapping with has the interact interface. And if it does, then we want to send out the message hit and update the HUD. And hit, as soon as this is sent out, this event will fire off. And one thing we actually want to do in the third person character is before event begin overlap, we want to type in actor has tag, hold down B for branch, and then for the tag, we want to do hit. And in the BP coin, we want to click on self, type in tag, and then hit. And the reason that we're doing this is because later when we have the loot bag, if we just walk into it, it's going to act as if we pressed E. But for the loot bag, we want to press E for us to be able to loot it, not just walk into it. So then this should be working good. And back in the BP coin, it's finally time to set up the rest of the code. So I'll drag off and get the player info. Then I want to set the coin and plug that in. And then off of here, I want to type plus to add. And then I'm going to take this and just plug it into here because it works the same as getting the coin. And for the BP coin, I'm just going to add 1. And then I'm also going to play sound 2D. And if you'd like the sound that I used, that will be on Mixkit. I left a link in the description. So it's just the coin sound. And I found that works pretty good. So once you download that, go to the sound folder that we created, then sound effects. So you want to click on this one since we've already set up all the settings like the class and all that. And if we click on this and then click add import and then click the sound effect, open, it'll say you want to use this as a template. You want to click yes. And now if you click on that, you can see it has all of the exact same settings, and that just saves a lot of time. So click on that, go to the BP coin, and then click the arrow, and then that will put it in there. So if we click play, you can see we walk through it and it makes the noise. After that, we want to destroy actor. So this way, when we walk through, it destroys it, so we can't pick up the coin again. Next, we're going to set up this coin widget up in the upper right hand corner. So go to content, UI, and then to HUD, and you can see I already have it right there. I'm just going to move this over and then I'll show you how to make it. So first, we want to get a horizontal box, drag that in. Then we also want to get an image, drag that into the horizontal box. Then I want to get a spacer, and finally I want to get some text. Then on the horizontal box, make sure sized content is ticked, and the spacer, drag this one over just to give it some space, and set the default value to 0. Then right here, you can see that we're going to add a coin image. To get this coin image, there's a website where you can download free images. There's a link in the description. Or you can go online and there's plenty of other free ones you can download, or you can make your own. And so once you do that, you just download it, make sure it's a transparent background. We're going in our UI folder, we're going to go to the HUD assets and then import, and then you want to click on the coin and then open. I already have it here, so I'm just going to use this. Select the image, go to HUD, and then with the empty image selected, click the arrow, and you can see it's in there. Then you want to change the alignment to the middle, that way it stays square. And then you can go ahead and change the values of those. Over here you can see I changed it to 60/60. That worked pretty good for me, so 60/60. And then for the font size, I used 50. And then make sure to center it and align to the right, just to make sure it works properly. And then select the horizontal box and drag the position to be up more towards the top, not too close though. And then anchor it on the upper right. So I'm just gonna delete this since we have the new one. So in here, I'm going to call this coin text, and then I'll call this coin image. So with the coin text selected, go to the graph, and I'm going to delete this. That's what I used for the previous. And one more thing, with the text selected, you want to tick is variable, and then you'll see it in the variables. So you can go ahead and drag that off, and then type set text and plug that in. And then in here, sorry, I forgot to delete it. I'm just going to delete that. Click the plus icon. And since we're using an integer, we'll change that to an integer, and I'll just call that coin amount. So then you can just drag and drop that into the text and it'll convert it for you. And then we're all set up with the update HUD. So that's looking good. And then we can delete player info, and we don't need this anymore. And we're all good with this. So now I just created a simple gold material. It says the gold material. And you just create this by holding down 3, and then you can get a color, and then a metallic to 1, and roughness to 0.2. And then in the BP coin, just change the material to gold, and then you can copy and paste all of these to make a line. And you'll see if I walk through them that the coins in the corner isn't changing, and that's because we didn't finish setting up the update HUD. So just come over here and double click on update HUD, and you can see that we have an empty spot over here. So we need to get a reference to the player info. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to put it in between the update HUD. So in the BP coin, I'm going to copy and paste this, go back to the third person, and then paste it in, and just plug in all of this, and then right click on that and create player info. So now that is a variable, and you can go back to update HUD, get the player info, and you want to get coin, plug in coin, and now if we click play and then walk through all these, you can see that it changes the value. Alright, so that's all for the rotating coin pickup. I know I said I'd do this in the next video, but to not make the video too long, I'm just going to make another video on how to do it, so that'll come out shortly after this one. So make sure to watch out for that, and I'll show you how to make a loot bag. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.